I'm Jennifer Snassi, you're watching News 24 Live. I'm joined in studio by my co-hosts Nick Pawson and Jerusha Sukhdeo-Roth, and today we're going to talk you through the most searched terms on Google in the past week. Now guys, everybody knows I'm a hypochondriac, so all I really search are different medical ailments that I may or may not have, but Nick, I'm going to throw it to you. People in South Africa have been searching real things, not just medical ailments, and we're going to talk about sport first. So I think you have something to tell us about the Cricket World Cup.
Well, Jen, yes, as you all know or may not know, it's the Cricket World Cup in Australia and New Zealand. South Africa have more or less qualified for the quarterfinals.
More or less being the operative word there.
Well, yeah, I mean, we're kind of waiting on some really unlikely upsets depending on who we're going to face. But yeah, but no, we've qualified for the quarterfinals. There's a chance we might play Australia, but it looks like we're going to face Sri Lanka. Anyway, so obviously South Africans are on the edge of their seats with this, and so yeah, no surprise that Cricket Life Scores has been the top trending Google search item this week.
I suppose it helps that the cricket's happening at such obscure times, so for a lot of us the only way to really keep up to date with it is by looking at live scores online.
Yes.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, I mean, obviously for sort of freaks like me, I've got the Cricket Info app on my phone, so I just tap onto that, but I'm sure most people just sort of punch into Google and get what they need.
And freaks like me don't have a TV at home, so the live scores help a lot. Okay, now Nick, the next one is also sporting. Jeremy Clarkson has gotten into a little bit of tough. Why don't you tell us about that?
Sporting or soap opera, I'm not quite sure. But yeah, Jeremy Clarkson again in hot water. He's never too far from the headlines for, doing a bit of controversial and PC stuff, racial slurs, driving around with number plates that aren't very PC. Anyway, this time, I think he got hangry, as we all know. Hangry and angry.
I've been there all the time.
One of his producers failed to book a late night steak dinner when they were on set in Yorkshire, and he allegedly punched this guy. But yeah, there's also some mixed reports coming out of, about that.
All you can do is laugh. What else are you supposed to do about this?
So yeah, he actually apparently went straight to the BBC director for television and sort of told his version of events before it got to the media and was blown out of proportion. So yeah, disciplinary hearing on the cards, and his contract's due to end at the end of April. There's a petition that's been signed by over 700,000 people to reinstate him.
Is he bigger than Top Gear? Is what I want to know. Is he?
Well, he is Top Gear. What would Top Gear be like without him?
I like the little guy.
They're not going to fire him.
No.
I think they're going to fire him.
I think they should. I think if you are racist and you punch people in the face, you do not deserve to be on television.
Yeah, but he is. So we'll see what happens with that.
Have you ever wanted to punch someone you've been so angry?
Yeah, I have, but I hold back. Because I like my job. So, Jarush, moving over to you. Oscar Pistorius was one of the most searched terms this week, as it probably has been, a lot of this year and last year. Everyone always wants to know what Oscar's up to, but this time it was because a video surfaced online of him playing some sport in prison.
Now, the Daily Sun was
Sorry, tell me how this is news.
Oscar playing sport in prison.
Nick has been harping on about this for the entire week.
I have a problem with this story.
Does not believe it's news. But the truth of the matter is people care about Oscar Pistorius, and it was this weird voyeuristic glimpse into what he was doing in prison. The funny thing is that he is now frenemies, I don't know what they are, but with Czech fugitive Radovan Krejča. So here we have murder accused and culpable homicide convicted Pistorius and Krejča having a soccer match.
I want to know what those two talk about in prison.
Right? So the thing is that many people are
Is it playing, sorry, Jusha, on this sort of organised crime undertone? Remember who came to his court hearing, or that retired boxer?
Yes.
They had that whole sort of scuffle.
Yes. So there have been real concerns about the groups that Pistorius moves in. People say that he's a thug and he moves in these types of groups. But the truth of the matter is you're stuck in prison, Krejča's next door. Who else are you going to play football with? And lots of people were saying that Pistorius is obviously getting special treatment and correctional services needs to speak up about this. It was two guys in prison playing soccer.
And it wasn't like a nice football field they were on. It was a concrete floor. That they were doing on.
But obviously people are still searching for Pistorius because just today we heard the news that, let's get this straight, his defense's appeal to have the state's appeal overturned was overturned.
So just break that down for us.
Right. So Judge Masipa has said that the state can appeal Oscar Pistorius's conviction. So the state want Oscar Pistorius is convicted of murder and not culpable homicide.
Right.
The defense appealed that appeal grant. So the defense went to court and said, we don't want the state to be able to appeal. And Judge Masipa threw that out of court today. She struck it off the roll.
All right. Nick, do you understand?
More or less. More or less.
News24.com, that's got everything you need to know.
Okay, Jarush. The Jonkershoek fire was one of the most searched terms this week. I mean, fire sweeping across the Cape for honestly, as long as I can remember. Takes to that.
Right, so we were relieved when the Cape Town fire was extinguished.
Yes.
We know there were hundreds of firefighters out on the mountain. It took out huge patches of fynbos, and
Our intern burnt his shoes off.
our
covering
intern
that.
burnt his shoes off, and the interns came back to the office smelling like braai. It was hectic. So that fire was extinguished, and then just a couple days later we hear that Stellenbosch is now on fire. The interesting thing is, and I can't speak to the Jonkershoek fire at the moment because we don't quite have information, but we know that with the Cape Town fire, City of Cape Town believes that somebody started it, that it was arson. So we've got the country's top forensic experts on the scene trying to figure this out. Imagine if you are found guilty of starting those fires. I can't even fathom it at this stage.
Did
Well,
they think?
No,
Go ahead,
after
Nick.
you.
Did they think it was a cigarette butt? Did they think it was someone braaiing? What did they think it was?
Right, well, initially there were reports that it was a cigarette butt or a bolt of lightning, but these are seeming more and more unlikely. So now police believe that it was started on purpose somehow. We're not quite sure how.
Hectic.
We heard this morning that the forensic investigation had been wrapped up on the scene. News 24 Live is trying to get comment from the forensic investigators, and we'll let you know.
Are these
as
the
soon
Cape
as we
Town
can.
fires? Or
These are the Cape
Jonkershoek?
Town fires.
Jonkershoek, okay.
Right, so we're not entirely certain about the start of the Jonkershoek fires yet.
And the extent of them compared to the Cape Town fires?
Not as big at
So I
this
heard
point.
some Stellenbosch students had to be evacuated. And
So at this point, the fires moved through Jonkershoek. We know that it was approaching Somerset Mall because Somerset Mall asked for evacuations in the area, and some students at Stellenbosch University. Remember, the evacuations don't necessarily have to do with the threat of fire. It's all sorts of things like smoke inhalation and ash. It's really quite scary.
Absolutely.
All right, moving on to our next Google search term, Flabba. Now, another devastating story this week. The Swanekamp rapper was allegedly stabbed to death by his girlfriend. Drush, I know you spoke to one of the court reporters that were there from the Juice. What did they have to say?
What was interesting about this was that the girlfriend herself had a stab wound on her stomach, according to the reporter.
And bruises.
Bruises and a nick or a cut that actually needed stitches. Lots of people are saying that it was self-inflicted. Others are saying that this was obviously a self-defense issue. But at this point, we just don't know. We know that there'll be a bail hearing on Monday.
Well, friends, family, fans, remembering Flabba at the memorial service on Wednesday. And now the latest thing that's come up on Channel 24, they've shared a video of his last performance. So everyone remembering him in different ways online. A sad story. Now let's go right into the last trending Google search term, was the Apple iWatch.
That thing is so expensive.
It's when it comes to South Africa, it's going to be about 4,000 rand, right? 299 pounds. They're saying $349. I don't really know that it's something that South Africans would pick up. Kind of like Google Glass, wearable technology. I don't know. Is it in our?
Explain to sort of non-techie people like me, what is the advantage of having an iWatch compared to an iPhone?
So, I mean,
6?
they're saying this iWatch can make calls. You can make calls, receive messages on it, and then it will
And what do
also
you
track
just do
your
that,
fitness.
or-
What does track your fitness mean?
So
I don't know, like
sort of
count your
MI5,
steps.
how does it work? Huh?
It connects to your phone. So I believe it's similar to a Bluetooth kind of device where you can connect to your phone. So Bluetooth
So
messages.
Jen,
will
what
come
you're
in.
telling me is Apple are now selling you a phone and a watch. You can get the watch, but you need to have the phone.
And you can also have an iPad and an iPad mini and an iPhone and a Mac. So there you go.
Jen, tell us about the iWatch edition, something like that. I think it's you can
Is
buy
that the bling one?
Yeah, you can get
It's
it
like in gold. 18 karat gold. So that's also something that's happening. I know there's a report on Forbes.com that says pretty much no one is going to go out and buy this Apple
for
iWatch.
Kanye.
But all the techies I've spoken to in studio are really excited about wearable technology, really excited about Apple's Watch, and let's face it, people will just buy it because it's an Apple product. Well, there you have it, 6 of the top trending searches on Google in South Africa. We hope you all have a great weekend.